As I'm editing this, it is currently April 2020 and we are all social distancing at home, but as I was going through my Instagram, I realized I had a bunch of video footage from February that I never got around to editing. Footage of video games from the long airplane ride as we were going to India. So when we flew from the States to India, we took the Emirates airline this time. So far, I've tried Air Canada, and we tried Air India and Emirates together, and we're still trying to figure out what is the most comfortable when you have a 15-plus hour flight. But what stood out as we got on this plane, for me at least, was the controller for the television, which looked like a little PlayStation Portable, and it was just wild to me that each seat had 2 functioning screens. So I spent a lot of time playing the various in-flight games that they had, with most of them being by a company called DTI. Every time a game loaded, my brain was always wanting to read that as DTF though, because I guess my brain is in the gutter, and yeah. But I liked looking at all the different games that they developed, and I could kind of see myself working for like a relatively small, unknown company building games for weird systems, and just putting a lot of heart into projects. I was really surprised that there were a lot of variety in the types of games available, though I did notice that there was also a group of games built for touch controls whose quality was significantly lower, and they were all released around the same time. Kind of like at some point they stopped making arcade games because they were like, oh, in-flight passengers don't want fun arcade games that you play with a D-pad, they want crappy Flappy Bird games, yay! But I was fortunate enough to have a bunch of really cool games to try out. Now, all of this shaky footage is from our flight to India. It's just on my phone. I didn't have a way to keep things steady while I tried to play with one hand and film with the other. But on the way back, I made sure to bring my tiny tripod with me, and I made a makeshift setup because there was one specific game that I fell in love with, and I beat it on the way to India. But I was determined to take some decent footage of it on our return trip back to the States. Frickin' BioBot. I really liked this charming little platformer, and during our return trip, I took footage of me playing the entire game a second time. Of course, I couldn't capture the audio from the game, because I didn't even know I was gonna be recording any game footage before my vacation, so I didn't have any audio cables with me, and I did not pack my laptop to take to India either. So we're just gonna have to listen to some royalty-free music while we talk about this. So starting off, like, it has an intro cutscene. I think this is kind of like the biggest, best game of the collection, and like the 3D models are so cute. Everything's just like look at this. Really? And then like these monsters start falling, and there's like this big monster thing that's causing all the problems, and everyone's like, oh no, we need help. I think those are coming from, I don't even know. But we have BioBot to rescue us. So good. BioBot's here. He's gonna save the day. So overall, this game has 2 bosses and, like, I guess 12 levels. It starts you out with a tutorial that teaches you how to use your weapon, and you collect these, I don't know, radiation blobs as you go. But what's really cool is you can electrify the monsters, and when they're electrified, you can ride them, and each monster has its own kind of ability. And when you're full up on your collectible thingy, I forgot what it's called, you can then also, like, shoot lasers from your monster, or just from your gun. So, I'm sure these monsters have names. I don't remember what any of them were, so we're gonna make up some names, just so I explain what the different monsters do. This is Mike. He will jump really far when you attack in the air, and can, well, all the enemies can destroy pineapples, but this one I'm just gonna call Rachel, because if I call it any of my friends' names, it's gonna be insulting. This guy can't walk forward, but can jump, double jump, and also squirts a lot of gas in 3 directions. Each monster has a small, medium, and large version, and the large versions of the monsters can take a hit before dying. So this right here is Big Blob Rachel. I'm calling this one Becky. It can walk on spiky balls and also has a attack that it does with its tongue, but it can be very useful for navigating these levels with lots of obstacles everywhere. This is John the Crab, and it shoots in both a direct and 45-degree angle, and it's a giant crab. And this is Clarissa the Bird, which is my favorite. It poops like a bird, and it flies. And we all know that flying monsters and power-ups are always the best. So the levels in this game mix and match all of these monster types to make you go back and forth between different ones, use different abilities, figure out how to navigate the level and find secrets, and it's just overall like a really cool experience. And it's still pretty challenging. Like, it's worth it to go out of your way to find the one-ups in order to make sure you don't get a game over. But though if you do get a game over, you can start over from the same level, you just lose your score. So it's not a big deal, it's not too punishing. There are only 2 boss fights, there's one in the middle and one at the very end, and for those I kinda had to like learn how to cheese them to get through it, but I mean overall I'm here for the platforming. So you fight the final boss, you eventually get it dead after many tries, and so then that's the end of the game. You get a nice little cutscene, and by nice I mean I don't know what you're doing to this monster, but I guess you're like grabbing his brain and making him fly to the moon, and they're all just watching, and you like crash the monster into the moon with the powers, and then they're like waiting to see if you survive, because you just crashed a monster into the moon, and you survived because you're a BioBot, and everyone cheers, everyone's happy that you just like put a big gas crater in the moon and killed the big monster, and you know, at this point, I'm happy that I beat the game a second time. So, overall, like, I really enjoyed this game. And I made sure to capture all the credits just so I could, like, look people up afterwards. Cause, you know, good job, you guys. I did look them up on LinkedIn. I didn't add any of them to contacts, because that would be kind of weird, but, I, you know, looked at their company stuff, and I forgot everything because it's been a couple months since I was like really infatuated with this game, but yeah. I mean, overall, it's a very solid game. The only thing is that that controller for the airplane is not the best gaming controller. It is a bit stiff, but I mean, it's a lot better than what it could be. I've seen some pretty terrible airplane controllers that wouldn't really work for games very well. But yeah. So now the question is, like, should I just post up my entire playthrough of BioBot? Because, like, I think it was really cool and fun to look through, but at the same time, like, there's no audio. I don't have the audio track or the music track, and so there'd be nothing to listen to. I could edit in some music, and then I guess I could add voiceovers and kind of make like a let's play it, but I played it 2 months ago sort of thing. But see, like, I'm a fan of underdog things. Like, I want people to know about this game, even though I don't know where you would go play it if you wanted to, besides, like, booking an Emirates flight somewhere. I don't know if other airlines have the game or not. But, like, it's a decent game, it's a pretty good game, and, like, I just feel like it should be out there? So maybe I'll edit together, like, a playthrough video of this BioBot game by DTI, not DTF, and, I don't know, maybe that will be entertaining. That'll be something interesting and kind of unique to put out there, so I don't know, but at least for now we have this little review, a little look at different airplane games that are surprisingly pretty good quality, pretty fun, that you probably aren't gonna get a chance to play. So I hope you enjoyed this look, and thank you for watching!
Bye.